Coastal waters have always been important to me. My experience growing up on the beaches and waterways of the Gulf Coast of Florida has been central to my work. In my art, I've always been drawn to create alternate universes and other realms I can enter. I love making art on a large scale and being immersed in the work. Field studies and observation in nature are often my starting points. This work first began when I noticed the gradual disappearance of kelp on California beaches. I realized I needed to document this loss to call attention to nearshore ecosystems threatened by ocean warming. I started gathering materials from beaches, which included kelp as well as the remains of the invasive purple sea urchins that feed on it. With these, I made large-scale prints via sun exposure on silk coated with a UV-sensitive emulsion. In these large installations, viewers can enter and be transported into this mesmerizing underwater world, surrounded by at-scale representations of massive kelp forests. At the beginning of the pandemic, I began embroidering items of personal significance into my large silk pieces as a way of processing collective and personal grief. When the silk pieces were hung inside the large front windows of the David Brower Center in Berkeley, I continued the process. In these more recent pieces that depict sea kelp and its predators, I have added embroidery to emphasize the minute details of nature. These pieces were hung alongside two large canvases in the two-story atrium of the David Brower Center. As I have thought about the absence of kelp forests in the ocean and the richness and resilience of the ocean floor, I've started imagining emerging life forms and multi-species evolution. To focus on both the power and fragility of the ocean, I carried large cyanotype-coated canvases into the ocean. There they were doused with seawater to capture the dynamic action of wind and waves. Once printed, I took them to my studio and added embroidery details. Tide pools contain both depth and surface, and often reflect the sky, clouds, and stars above. They reveal the movements of the moon and planets that affect the tides as they are filled by these tide waters, in an intermingling of visible and invisible forces. Some of my works imagine bioluminescence in the deepest reaches of the ocean, an explosion of beauty in a dark and inhospitable environment. In my recent work, I've expanded my focus to include the more common forests of the land alongside the unseen forests of the sea. I'm inspired by the richness of the redwood and oak forests and their meadows, which are part of the beautiful ecosystem near the Mendocino coast, close to various nearshore kelp restoration projects. In the forest, I've been exploring interspecies communication and the rich and complex interconnections, vegetation, fungal mycelium, and the root and canopy systems of groups of trees. While contemplating the ways in which the oceans are changing, I embroidered botanical-based fabrics from coastal Mexico into this canvas, which itself was printed in the forest. It serves as a reminder of increasing environmental strain, with humans and animals alike forced to migrate due to loss of home and habitat. The protection of oceans and other natural habitats is essential for all species worldwide in an ever more connected world.